Hello and welcome, this is Synoptic, and we're going to be going through a 2v2 ranked match on the map Forest Gully. This is between TLG and a clan called HoE. HoE. I looked them up before and they were Polish, so they might not know what it ends up looking like after the abbreviated terms, but we are definitely going to be taking on some HoEs. Now, as stated in the previous video, I'm still uncertain as to what Let's Play I should be doing. I saw some of the comments before, so it's either Shogun or Empire. Still 50-50, not too sure yet. I'll do one more MP video after this one, then I'll make a definite choice. In terms of these armies, me and Blonkers have relatively simple, balanced armies. Our opponents have more melee heavy armies. My opponent, well, they're both in black, which is going to be harder to take them apart. I'm on the right side, Blonkers on the left. And we're currently showing my opponent, who has two monk guns, and they're really highly vetted, as in they have everything and they have some extra perks as well, like the extra range, and then he's going to switch on the ability extra range and shoot me to a range which I didn't even know which was possible. Now this one's normal. In his first shot I could see that one coming. He's just shooting at my Yaris while my bow monk is shooting at him, but soon he's going to shoot one of my katanas, which I did not see possible at the time. Earlier on you did see him have a lot of cavalry in the middle, so that's obviously to either hit me or Blonkers. A good area to put cavalry in between some armies, but it was clearly blocked off, so he switched his cavalry to the other side. Here are those shots now. He will actually kill half of that katana unit, and that's about the same range as my bow monk, which I thought was kind of weird. Regardless, I will then pull my infantry back. He will then follow this up with a cavalry charge, a very heavy one, on a single flank. Little to his knowledge, I have two cavalry hidden in the woods nearby, which will then charge these straight on. Unfortunately, he had a segmented attack. He had two at the front and then a further two after it, so I can only hold one with a spear, whereas the other one actually hits the main part of my army. So as one of those cavalry gets snagged, one does make contact. I'm condensing my army into one side because of his high numerical superiority in terms of infantry. He has them all in this one sector, just curving around that critical point, and I think he's set on rally, and not too long he'll try and set up stand and fight, which is what everybody does. So these are all lone swordsmen, don't get me wrong on that one. Now, as I was trying to clean up the right side with my cavalry, he then makes contact with my matchlocks. Unfortunately, I think I get one back to my main line, but I'm just trying to stay out of the fight until I get my cavalry closer, as he's still trying to mop up. So he has lost all of his cavalry at this point. However, there is so much infantry, and he's got some spears on the left side which is blocking off my cavalry, so I have to be careful. You can see them in the shot at the bottom right now, so I can't really just sneak by and then hit everything with my cav. Now, Blonkers on the left of my army also has two matchlocks which are doing flanking fire, which is also why I'm happy to stand back as he continues to try and kill everything in front of him. So to delay that left part of the army, I will send cavalry right into the rear, and then I'll pull it back out. I try and hit the general, but then he has a spear unit right next to it, so that'll be quite difficult to destroy. And I have another one coming through to do an actual hammer and anvil. Although you're seeing some of my flags, they are wavering. They're the majority of my lower quality units letting go. So after I couldn't kill the general, I then moved the same cavalry into the rears. And you can see Black's army starting to waver, although this is when things start to change. So Blonkers sends some of his army to help, which would also lead Blonkers' opponent to send some of his army as well. So with things unchanged, with flanking fire from Blonkers and then cavalry support with my remaining army on the right side, my opponent would have gone down quite fast, although at this point the other guy starts sending some cavalry down as well. In fact, I think 3 or 4, and there are no real defenses on this side, so there's just matchlocks and matchlocks and matchlocks. So he's just running straight into them. Very good move by that player. So what this is doing is not only killing a big part of our armies, but also occupying them, making my fight just go from an easy win to a more difficult one. Although the other player still has to be careful. You can't just run around freely with cavalry against all these matchlocks. They will shoot you and take you down eventually. And you can quite easily tell he's being quite careful with his actions. You can hear the command sound just constantly happening with that cavalry. Just his units don't shut up with how many commands he's making. So careful usage. However, these are 4 matchlocks in total. So back here, my army was left to its own devices, basically my katanas versus highly vetted lone swords, and most probably a bunch of perks that increase the strength of those units. So I lose a lot more men than I should have with that helping cavalry. Here's another one sent down, which gets snagged by one of Blanca's spear units. Although to be blunt, this would have been better used much earlier, in conjunction with the other supporting cavalry. In a sense, too little too late. There's not much for that cavalry to do, it gets shot down quite quickly. So, what's the current situation? Black has then tried to assist his ally with his cavalry units. He has 1 remaining. He opted not to send his final one into the fray. But in trying to assist his friend, he lost all his cavalry and therefore all his mobility. And when you try and do something like that, you're going to try and kill the other guy, and that did not happen. My army is still intact. So that was a failed gang, and now he's just going to go for a head-on assault. There's not much more he can do here. He's either going to try and attack Blanca's while my army and Blanca's other forces are out of position, or he's just going to sit there and wait by getting attacked by both of us. And like any fight, it starts with an attempted skirmish. He tries to shoot with bows, and then Blanca sends a Great Guard directly into it, routing it. Black does have some matchlocks standing behind these lines. They shoot the Great Guard. It does not deal enough damage to rout the unit though, so the Great Guard continues to then hit the matchlocks as the rest of the army is trying to engage in melee combat. And as expected from a rushed attack, it is also a disjointed attack. You can see an attempted cavalry charge in the front to try and disrupt the front lines, although the other units are just too far away to then cause much of a flowing strike. So the Great Guard that was initially shot down held back 4 units of Black, which is about a third of the army. The rest of it is charging uphill into this small area, essentially a bottleneck, which is then charged downhill by Blanca's, who is using the rally ability. You can see the red morale bars of Black's army. Now as Black's front line is then engaged and held back, you can see Blanca's has deployed matchlocks close behind. Black realizes this quite quickly enough and tries to charge them with Nadachis. However, the same issue still applies. Half the army is trying to initiate an engagement, whereas the other half is trying to catch up. So, in team battles, I believe they're much more fun than 1v1. There's a lot more tactics and obviously teamwork involved. So in this battle you can see one player was trying to be too aggressive, whereas one was very reserved. One did not want to engage and one went all out. And when one thing goes wrong, both players fail because of that. So if anything, this battle should definitely display of how important it is, what to commit, how and when. You can try and help out a teammate, but if it's too late, what's the point? And if you don't go fast enough, you might die. All these little factors, so you don't have to help a teammate if they can hold their own. You can use your resources elsewhere. But understanding these concepts is another battle in itself. So GG all, thanks for watching.